So, welcome back guys to another video. It's Grapha here and we are in to the new patch that has just happened and dropped today. Now, new content and covered this on the PTR server, but the Celestial Anomaly. So let's just go into this real quick. Just a quick, not quick, this the whole video. What am I talking about? I always like fumble these things. Never practice. Anyway, but yeah, Celestial Anomaly. What is the Void Messenger and what are the new stuff? Now, just to show you, I could actually, just blitz through this and buy, because I have these pure essences saved. You should actually save these when you're almost done with like the Soaring Goat. You should save them. You get these from your daily missions every day from completing these 2 quests, which I don't have here right now because I already completed them a while ago. But there are 2 quests there. You get 120 every day, and you should save them. That way you can automatically put them into the Sunken Viper and climb on the next day, on the first day of the launch. So yeah, I will do that later. Now, what is this boss all about? Basically, what the boss, and 1 to 4 is just the usual, like the 1 to 4 floors are just AoE damage and then just, stun lock them and stuff like that. But the idea of this boss is that you want to do AoE damage, and the reason why you want to do AoE damage is because the boss himself is not targetable because of this Spirit Body passive, immune to poison and immune to AP reduction effects. And if you guys haven't seen this, just go into like my previous videos in the PTR. But basically, the main boss himself is untargetable, and so what you want to do is you want to kill these ads, these beasts of fury, and when you kill them, they will deal true damage to the Void Messenger. And this is usually around like 5% of their health, and so you want to kill them. But another way that you can deal damage to them is AoE damage, right? But another way you can deal damage to them is this Verdict debuff, which is the unique debuff to this Celestial Anomaly. And this Verdict debuff, you basically get 5 every time you hit them, but if it's coming from a Judgement unit, they will deal 10. And once this Verdict reaches 100 stacks, they will deal true damage to all enemies based on their max HP. And I don't know exactly how much this is, but it's roughly around 5 to 10% per pop. So that's how I like to think about it. So if you deal damage to the Beast of Fury and kill them, they'll deal roughly 5% to the boss. These are just rough numbers. This is from what I've experienced, right? And if you pop a Verdict, it'll deal roughly 5 to maybe 15% to the boss as well. So you don't actually need to hit the boss with AoE damage. You should be fine just killing these Beasts of Fury over and over again. So it's actually a strategy maybe that you can just use single target damage and kill the Beasts of Fury. We don't know yet, but ideally right now, the best idea is to just go for AoE damage. And these are gonna be the, oh shit, I want to show you guys the Judgement Units. So these are gonna be the Judgement Units. These are gonna be the Judgement Units, which I will show you in a bit. So these are gonna be the Judgement Units, and these will deal, okay, yeah, so true damage is 10% of their max HP, and the selected target takes additional damage. This just means that if you pop the Judgment on that specific unit, they will deal additional damage. So it's also worth doing AoE damage onto the boss. That way, if the boss gets his judge stacks, even though you can't target him, if it pops, it will still take additional damage. So you just want to kill the ads as much as possible. You don't actually need to deal direct damage to the boss, where it's gonna remain to be seen what the meta comps are gonna be, because as of the moment, it's like there are a few ways to deal with the boss, right? You can either just kill the ads a lot and just focus on the ads and then deal with the boss that way. You can take it slow, or you can just zerg down the boss and like kill him by actually attacking the boss with strong AoE damage. We will see what the meta devolves into. And right now, these are gonna be the Judgment Espers. Now, as you can see, the Judgment Espers are not just all of the one unit, one typing, unlike in the Wither Messenger, all of them were really either Shimmer or Wind types. But here in the Void Messenger, the Judgement Units are actually mixed. So we have like Zora here, we have Jiangman. All of them are gonna be really good, but I will say one thing, right? Jiangman isn't actually that good in my opinion. She does have the AoE damage, but the thing is, the ads, specifically for the boss phase, right? The ads, when they die, they don't actually die according to the game. They just kind of like revive basically. So Jiangman's Nether Bloom actually doesn't proc, which is actually really, really bad. So even though Jiangman is good from floors like 16 to 19 or from 1 to 4 or whatever, she's not actually that good during the boss phase. I mean, she's good in the sense that she has AoE damage, she does have AoE damage, and she does consistently pump out her S1. But if the ads die, they don't actually proc the Nether Bloom, which is really, really bad. But maybe in the later floors when it's harder to kill the ads, then the Nether Bloom will be really, really good because you can actually proc the 5 hits before killing the ads, and that would give value that way. But we shall see. I think that the biggest winners of this is going to be Camille. Camille's going to be really good. She's a free-to-play unit, and if you have her at R6, she will transition from S3 into S2, S3 into S2, and she will attack AoE damage a ton. The 40% increased attack also is going to be really nice. Yuuhime is going to be really good because she can attack constantly in her S2. Zora, I think, will be really good as well, but she is a flow unit, so she might not be that good. Longman is going to be really, really good. I'm calling this now. Longman is going to be like a must, I think, because he's one of the few units who can apply AoE speed down on the boss. The freeze is good to control the ads, and then the speed down on the boss is going to be really, really huge. So those are my picks. If you have Raven, I think Raven might be good as well because she has the buff blocker, which might be really, really good as well. And the buff strip, which is actually going to be really, really good because the boss has like these buffs that you honestly can't get rid of. But I think right now it's the best to just completely ignore the buffs. I don't know, we shall see. But right now, here's the free-to-play team comp that I've come up with. The twins, AoE damage on them is really, really nice. You can build the white twin with some on a DPS set. But also on a stun set because you need to control the ads. And then Longmian on the AoE controlling. Longmian's just really, really good, and the speed lead. So yeah, healing and whatnot. By the way, I forgot to mention this, but as for the boss's skills, his S1 gives him attack up, defense up, and speed up. Now, honestly, there's no way to easily get rid of these as a free-to-play player. The only good options are like Lucas. Lucas is the best option, but he's not really that good as well unless you have him fully skilled up. Tricky, but Tricky isn't that good in this content because he's just not going to be that good on this content in general, in my opinion. And then there's Raven and Nusi. If you have Nusi, that's a possibility, but I don't think he's going to be that good. And then Raven, which I mean, yeah, sure, if you have Raven or Nusi, then go ahead, use them. But as a free-to-play unit, you kind of don't have that option. So your best bet is to just control these Beasts of Fury, because if the Beast of Fury takes a turn, the boss himself will actually gain AP plus 20%. And if you want to just reduce the amount of turns that he will take, because he's going to take a turn and they're going to do a bunch of damage, you can either just prevent the Beasts of Fury from moving, because if the Beasts of Fury don't move, then they won't be able to gain plus 20%. So that's the ideal scenario. And then if they don't move and they don't attack, you can use Asenath to ignore 25%, like just reduce the damage taken by 50%. And since all of his attacks are AoE, Asenath is going to be particularly good because the value that you get from mitigating AoE damage will always be there. The problem with Asenath usually is that like just single target damage will just remove the Lotus marks and it's going to be insignificant. But because the boss is realistically the only AoE damage here, then Asenath's actually going to be really good in my opinion in this content. So yeah, we're just going to run it here. And yeah, you just want to stun these guys, that way they never take a turn. But the problem is they can actually just, you know, die, and if they die, then like they'll just take their turn anyway. So you kind of want to not just have stuns, you also want to have AP reduction, which is why I picked Longman here over someone like Pritzker, for example. I think Ira might be good as well, but the thing about Ira is she's at a type disadvantage. So I think Longman is going to be the best here. And as you can see, the moment the ads die, they lose all their debuffs, which is really, really bad because you'll suddenly lose all of these stuns and all these bleeds that you're putting on them. So you don't want to commit too hard onto stuns, which is why I think Longman is the best because he has this Horde Frost, which will reduce their AP by 60%, I believe, if they're speed down, which is really, really good. And yeah, I think that's just the key here, in my opinion. And another thing is that the twins, I think, are also really, really good. Just because you really, really, really want to land this speed down on the boss. You do not want the boss to get too fast because right now he's going to have all these buffs. And as a free-to-play player, if you're only using like 4 stars or a certain 5 stars, you will not be able to deal with these buffs. Like you just can't get rid of them. There's no unit in the game that can remove them pretty reliably. Lucas is the closest, but even Lucas's stun S3 removes on like a 50% chance or something like that. It's really, really low probability. So, and it's on a 6-turn cooldown. So unless you were really willing to invest in him so that it will turn into a 4-turn cooldown, it's just not that worth it. As you can see here, it just did a ton of damage if you just rewind it like 5-10 seconds before. But yeah, another thing here is that like if you want to deal with like all the damage that's coming your way, you need a ton of AoE healing, and we just won here. But Meredith doesn't do enough AoE healing in my opinion. So it's either Hengye or Asenath. Meredith is okay, but Meredith doesn't do enough healing in my opinion, and you just don't need her. So I think that this is what you're gonna be climbing with if you're like a free-to-play player, in my opinion. Something else that you can do is if you don't want to use like something like this, if you have like the stronger Judgement units, definitely use Yuhime, definitely use Ashley in my opinion. Gabrielle is also really good if you want to increase your survivability. I'm gonna come back with you later to see where I will get blocked and where I will get stopped. But for now, I'm just gonna climb and see where I get stopped at, where I get stuck at with this team comp. Alright, so what has happened is I have been able to clear all the 30 floors that we unlock on the first day with just the team that I showcased, this free-to-play team. I cannot showcase it right now. But yeah, I'll try again like tomorrow and see how it goes. Just some notes though. At the later floors, survivability started to become a problem. Like there were times when my units could die if I wasn't careful, so I had to be careful to really have my Asenath's Lotus marks up at the right time. I actually lost at floor 30 on auto, but when I did it on manual, I was able to still beat it comfortably. The one thing that I did forget to mention is the Guardian's second skill actually dispels all the buffs on the target, which means that someone like Gabrielle might not be as good. I mean, having buffs on yourself might not be as good because they will just get dispelled, which is why the Lotus marks are actually really good because they will take the hit first and then get dispelled, right? But yeah, I think Gabrielle still will be good just because you can apply the attack down on the boss, and that way the hit will be less powerful. So that will remain to be seen. But yeah, this dispelling all buffs will throw out some buffs on your team that might otherwise be not that good. Like for example, maybe having attack up on your team might not be as useful, or maybe some defense up on your team. Debuffing the boss is gonna be where it's at. And yeah, this team that I showcased, did really well. Here it is again. And yeah, one thing that I will notice, or what I will say, is that there are times when you have the opportunity to kill some of the ads, but they are stunned. What I did was I tried to ignore those ads that were stunned and just focused my damage on the single ad. That way they could get like, you know, speed down, maybe AP reduced, maybe like even killed over again. And with like Xie Yuqi with the White Twin, he would constantly, I mean, AP reduce and steal AP from that unit. So that one ad that was getting killed over and over again, but I couldn't stun them because they were getting killed over and over again, would just keep on dying and getting AP reduced, while the other ads stayed stunned, and I just didn't really touch them until like maybe their turn took over. Maybe I had to do some AoE stunning or some AoE DPS, like the cooldowns came back. So yeah, right now that is where I am at with the Infernal boss. I hope that this helps you. I think that this can climb pretty far, especially if you try to take it on manual. I think that Asenath is definitely the way to go with regards to the support for this boss, because her Lotus marks work really well and have like good synergy against the boss, or anti-synergy against the boss. That way, like, she will reduce the damage first before the buffs get removed. And the healing is kind of unfortunate because of the recovery, but she does some decent healing overall as well. And I put her on Ocean Waves, that way she will hopefully take her turns more often, because these Lotus marks will pop and she will get her turn more often. And then hopefully with all those turns, she will get her AP, her cooldowns reduced by, and then be able to do AoE healing and AoE damage reduction. So yeah, I think that's where it is at right now. Longmans can be really awesome, and if you don't have like, if you don't like the twins, you can probably use like Lucas or something. I'll release some more options later down the line, but I think this is a really good option and set. So yeah, this can definitely climb you all the way to level 30 if you just put in some manual and you pilot it really properly. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't have any more notes written down here. And yeah, that is the Void Omen. And I will come up with more teams as the days come by. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys. It's a Void Messenger, by the way. And I will see you guys in the next video. Patch notes! Anyway, I don't know. Woo! Bye, guys.